friends. It's Miss Jackie with the Waco McLennan County Public Library bringing you another full steam ahead kitchen science experiment. So I'm so glad everybody could join us today because we're going to be doing something extra fun. Now, think about some of your favorite animals who live in cold weather. Kind of like us this week, don't you think? Which is why I have my sweater on today. It's super cold outside. But think about the animals that live, say, in the Arctic, where it gets very, very cold. There's snow and ice everywhere. How in the world do they keep warm? Well, we put on things like our sweaters and our coats to help us stay warm when it's cold. But some animals have developed something called blubber. Now, what is blubber? Well, you may know what that means, but in case you don't, it's a layer of fat that helps keep the animals warm. And we're going to see what that might be like if we were to go swimming in the Arctic without our layer of blubber and with our layer of blubber. So what we need to gather together to make this science experiment happen is a bowl of water with some ice, just like that. You know that's going to be cold, right? Then we also want to get 2 plastic baggies or anything like that. It's going to not allow the water to come in for our experiment. And then I have a layer of shortening. Now this is something you may or may not have in your kitchen. If you do, this is going to be the best thing to use for this experiment. And, if not, anything that's going to stick to something and create a layer. What's important is that we're simulating what fat would be like because blubber, really in the end, is nothing but fat. So let's see how this feels and what the difference would be. So follow along with me and you can do this at home too. All right, what we're going to do is take our bare hand and we're going to put it, whoa, that is super cold. We're just going to put this right here in that ice water. Wow, I don't think we could last too long with our hand in there without anything covering it up. But let's see what it would be like for one of our Arctic animals. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our baggie. Then we're going to put that baggie on our hand, just like that. So you don't have to worry about sealing it up. We'll just keep our hand covered like this. Then we're going to get out our layer of shortening. And we're going to rub this all over our hands, just like this, until our hand is covered in the layer of our blubber, just like that. So you want to make sure that you get this on both sides of your hand. And I would say just keep smoothing it on. You really can't use too much, right? Okay, now that we have a nice layer there coating our hand, what we'll do is put our other baggie right on over it. So we can almost think of this as the animal's skin or fur or polar bear, something like that. So we'll get this all covered up just like that. Now, that we're all covered just like this, let's put our hand back in here. Wow, guess what, guys? I don't feel the cold water at all. Not even in the tiniest bit. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Really, I could keep my hand in here all day long. I can't wait for you to try this yourself. You won't believe it either. That was super cool. All right, now let's think about what the science behind this is and what's going on with the animals that live in these cold climates. All right, so what do we have going on here and what are those scientific terms? Well, the first one we talked about is insulation. Now, that's that layer of blubber that the Arctic animals have that helps keep them warm. Now, that insulation also helps us every day when it's cold outside. Think about maybe cotton or wool or fleece or something you have like that stuffed inside your coat or inside of your blanket that you cover up with at night to sleep. All of those things are also considered insulation. We also have insulation in our homes. And I'll tell you something kind of funny about that. Insulation doesn't just help us stay warm, but also in the warm summer months, the insulation in our house, for example, may help keep us cool from the sun that shines on our house. So insulation is kind of a cool thing to know about. Now, what is it that these animals have that makes them special and able to live in such a cold climate? Well, what they have is something called an adaptation. And adaptations basically are modifications that the animal has had. They've maybe evolved or changed so that they can fit better in their climate and can adapt to survive there the best. Now, if we put, say, a lizard up in the polar ice cap, do you think he'd last very long? I don't think so. He's just not adapted for that environment. And it's just like saying, let's take a seal and put him in the jungle. I think he'd be a little hot, don't you? So that's just some of the things that we can think about, especially over the winter. So I hope you guys can try this at home. Maybe even instead of using shortening, try putting some cotton balls or something in between the layers of the bag in your hand and see if that works. Or maybe, wrap a scarf around your hand. See what might work the best when you're trying out an experiment like this. And just like with all science, it's fun to try different things and see what you can come up with. So happy that you can join us today, and make sure to subscribe and like our videos on our YouTube channel. We look forward to bringing you another cool science experiment next week. But for now, we'll say bye-bye and stay warm, everyone.